We're going to learn Perek Aleph Mishnah Ches. This Mishnah has two cases. The first case is that if a person is building a Sukkah, and on the roof of the Sukkah they place metal spits, or they place wooden side posts of a bed frame, then this Sukkah is not kosher. The reason is because metal spits, number one, do not grow from the ground. Number two, they are able to become tameh, so therefore they are not considered to be kosher and valid schach. Wooden side posts of a bed frame, even though they do grow from the ground, and even though these side posts were generally less than 4 tfachim, they were smaller than 12 inches wide. Nevertheless, since they were originally used as the side posts of a bed frame, then even after they are disassembled, they are still able to become tameh and are therefore not considered to be kosher schach. So in order for this sukkah to become kosher, the person has to remove some of these metal spits, or he has to remove some of these wooden side posts to the point where there is a bigger gap between the remaining spits or between the wooden side posts that he can then place there kosher schach, and this sukkah will then become kosher. The second case of the Mishnah is that if a person begins to stack hay to the point where he makes a very large haystack, and then the person begins to remove some of the hay, hollowing out the middle to the point where there's enough space for a kosher sukkah, then even though hay is considered to be a valid material for schach, nevertheless this sukkah is not kosher. The reason is because when he initially was placing the hay, and the top layer that he's now using as schach was not placed for the purpose of its being schach for shade. It was only that after he hollowed it out, he now wants to use what's already there as his kosher schach. And the Torah tells us that when we are building a sukkah, we have to initially put the schach for the purpose of it being schach for shade, and we're not allowed to use something that was already there, even if it is kosher material. We are now going to read the Mishnah inside. In the first case of the Mishnah, even though the Mishnah will say that for the sukkah to be kosher, you only have to remove the metal spits or the wood side posts the same amount as what remains, the Gemara actually explains that for the sukkah to be kosher, he has to remove a little bit more, so that the gaps between the metal spits or between the wooden side posts have to be bigger than what's still left onto the sukkah. So says the first part of the Mishnah that Hamikare, someone who made a roof, Sukkah on his sukkah, Be'shapudin with spits, Oy or Baruchai Samita with side posts of a bed frame, then how will the sukkah be kosher? That even if Yesh Revach, there is a space, Beinei and between them, Kim Moisan, the same size as them, and the Gemara explains that it actually needs to be a little bit bigger than what's still there, then Keshera, this sukkah is kosher. The second case of the Mishnah, Hachoite, someone who hollowed out, Big Gadish in a haystack, Lasis by sukkah, to make a sukkah in it, then even though the space in the haystack is big enough for a sukkah, and even though the hay is a kosher valid material for schach, Eina sukkah, this is not considered to be a good sukkah.